Plymouth is a town in Plymouth County, Massachusetts, United States. Plymouth holds a place of great prominence in American history, folklore and culture, and is known as America's hometown. Plymouth was the site of the colony founded in 1620 by the Pilgrims, passengers of the famous ship the Mayflower. Plymouth is where New England was first established. It is the oldest municipality in New England and one of the oldest in the United States. The town has served as the location of several prominent events, the most notable being the first Thanksgiving feast. Plymouth served as the capital of Plymouth Colony from its founding in 1620 until the colony's merger with the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1691. Plymouth is named after Plymouth, southwest England, United Kingdom. Plymouth is the largest municipality in Massachusetts by area. The population is 56,468 according to the 2010 U.S. Census. Plymouth is one of two county seats of Plymouth County, the other being Brockton. Plymouth is located approximately 40 miles south of Boston in a region of Massachusetts known as the South Shore. Throughout the 19th century, the town thrived as a center of rope-making, fishing, and shipping, and once held the world's largest rope-making company, the Plymouth Cordage Company. While it continues to be an active port, today the major industry of Plymouth is tourism. Plymouth is served by Plymouth Municipal Airport, and contains Pilgrim Hall Museum, the oldest continually operating museum in the United States. As one of the country's first settlements, Plymouth is well known in the United States for its historical value. The events surrounding the history of Plymouth have become part of the mythology of the United States, particularly those relating to Plymouth Rock, the Pilgrims and the first Thanksgiving. The town itself is a popular tourist spot during the Thanksgiving holiday. Plymouth is home to the Old Colony Club, one of the oldest gentlemen's clubs in the world. History Pre-colonial era Prior to the arrival of the Pilgrims, the location of Plymouth was a village of 2,000 Wampanoag Native Americans called Patuxet. This region that would become Plymouth was visited twice by European explorers prior to the establishment of Plymouth Colony. In 1605, Samuel de Champlain sailed to Plymouth Harbor, calling it Port St. Louis. Captain John Smith, a leader of the colony at Jamestown, Virginia, explored parts of Cape Cod Bay. He is credited with naming the region which would become the future Plymouth Colony as New Plymouth. After these explorations, two plagues afflicted coastal New England in 1614 and 1617. Likely transmitted from British and French fishermen to natives on the shore, it killed between 90 and 95% of the local Wampanoag inhabitants. The near disappearance of the tribe from the side not only left their cornfields and other cleared areas for the soon-to-arrive Pilgrims to occupy, but also meant that the Indians were in no condition to resist the arrival of the colonists. Colonial era Plymouth has played a very important role in American colonial history. It was the final landing site of the first voyage of the Mayflower, and the location of the original settlement of the Plymouth Colony. Plymouth was established in the December of 1620 by Anglicans and English separatists who had broken away from the Church of England, believing that the Church had not completed the work of the Protestant Reformation. Today, these settlers are much better known as Pilgrims, a term coined by William Bradford. The Mayflower first anchored in what would become the harbor of Provincetown, Massachusetts on November 11, 1620. The ship was headed for Virginia, but eventually reached New England. There are varying theories as to how this happened. They include, violent storms threw the ship off course. A navigation error. The Dutch bribed the captain to sail north so the Pilgrims would not settle near New Amsterdam. And the Pilgrims on the Mayflower, who comprised only 35 of the 102 settlers aboard the Mayflower, hijacked the ship to land far from Anglican control. The Pilgrim settlers, realizing that the party did not have a patent to settle in the region, subsequently signed the Mayflower Compact. The Pilgrims went on to explore various parts of Cape Cod, but soon a storm and violent fights with local Native Americans forced the migrants to sail westward into Cape Cod Bay. The Pilgrims eventually came across the sheltered waters of Plymouth Harbor on December 17. The appealing protected bay led to a site in the present-day Harbour District being chosen for the new settlement after 3 days of surveying. The settlers officially disembarked on December 21, 1620. It is traditionally said that the Pilgrims first set foot in America at the site of Plymouth Rock, though no historical evidence can prove this claim. The settlers named their settlement Plymouth after the major port city in Devon, England, from which the Mayflower sailed. Plymouth, Devon, United Kingdom, was named after its location at mouth of the River Plym. Plymouth faced many difficulties during its first winter, the most notable being the risk of starvation and the lack of suitable shelter. From the beginning, the assistance of Indians was vital. One colonist's journal reports, "We marched to the place we called Cornhill, where we had found the corn before. At another place we had seen before, we dug and found some more corn, 2 or 3 baskets full, and a bag of beans. In all we had about 10 bushels, which will be enough for seed. It is with God's help that we found this corn, for how else could we have done it, without meeting some Indians who might trouble us?" Along with ransacking the food stores of Indians, the colonists also raided the houses of the few Indians who had survived the plague, as well as robbing Indian graves. Even greater assistance came from Somerset and Tisquantum, an Indian sent by Wampanoag tribe chief Massasoit, as an ambassador and technical advisor. Squanto had been kidnapped in 1614 by an English slave raider and sold in Malaga, Spain. Having learned English, he escaped slavery and returned home in 1619. Teaching the colonists how to farm corn, and how to catch fish, and how to make other necessary items, he was instrumental in the survival of the settlement for the first 2 years. Squanto and another guide sent by Massasoit in 1621, Hobart, helped the colonists set up trading posts for furs and pay off the cost of establishing the colony. Chief Massasoit later formed a peace treaty with the Pilgrims. Upon growing a plentiful harvest in the fall of 1621, the Pilgrims gathered with Squanto, Somerset, Massasoit, and 90 other Wampanoag men in a celebration of food and feasting. This celebration is known today as the First Thanksgiving, and is still commemorated annually in downtown Plymouth with a parade and a reenactment. Since 1941, Thanksgiving has been observed as a federal holiday in the United States. Plymouth served as the capital of Plymouth Colony from its founding in 1620 until 1691, when the colony was merged with the Massachusetts Bay Colony and other territories to form the province of Massachusetts Bay. Plymouth holds the unique distinction of being the first permanent settlement in New England, and one of the oldest settlements in the United States. 19th century. In the 1800s, Plymouth remained a relatively isolated seacoast town whose livelihood depended on fishing and shipping. The town eventually became a regional center of shipbuilding and fishing. Its principal industry was the Plymouth Cordage Company, which became the world's largest manufacturer of rope and cordage products. The company was founded in 1824. At one point, the longest rope walk in the world, a quarter-mile in length, was found on the Cordage Company's site on the North Plymouth waterfront. It thrived into the 1960s, but was forced out of business in 1964 due to competition from synthetic fiber ropes. The refurbished factory, known as Cordage Commerce Center, is home to numerous offices, restaurants and stores. Modern history. In the last 30 years, Plymouth has experienced rapid growth and development. As in many South Shore towns, Plymouth became more accessible to Boston in the early 1970s with improved railroads, highways, and bus routes. Furthermore, the town's inexpensive land costs and low tax rates were factors in the town's significant population rise. Plymouth's population grew from 18,606 residents in 1970 to 45,608 residents in 1990, a 145% increase in 20 years. The population has continued to expand in recent years. While Plymouth has already surpassed several Massachusetts cities in population, the town is still officially regarded as a town, as it has not been rechartered as a city and continues to be governed by a board of selectmen rather than a mayor. Plymouth has emerged as a major economic and tourist center of the South Shore. One of the largest towns in Massachusetts, Plymouth spans several exits on its main highway, Route 3. Plymouth boasts several larger shopping plazas in the nearby Independence Mall in Kingston, Massachusetts, much of which has been built in just the past 5 years. As it has grown, additional access is possible via a recent extension to Plymouth's second-largest highway, U.S. Route 44. Geography. The latitude of Plymouth is 41.95833 and its longitude is -70.667778. According to the United States Census Bureau, the town has a total area of 134.0 square miles, of which 96.5 square miles is land, and 37.5 square miles is water. With the largest land area of any municipality in Massachusetts, Plymouth consists of several neighborhoods and geographical sections. Larger localities in the town include Plymouth Center, North, West and South Plymouth, Menominee, Sitarville, and Sackwish Neck. Plymouth makes up the entire western shore of Cape Cod Bay. It is bordered on land by Bourne to the southeast, Wareham to the southwest, Carver to the west, and Kingston to the north. It also shares a small border with Dewberry at the land entrance of Sackwish Neck. Plymouth's border with Bourne makes up most of the line between Plymouth and Barnstable counties. The town is located roughly 44 miles southeast of Boston from Plymouth Rock to the Massachusetts State House, and equidistantly east of Providence, Rhode Island. Located in the Plymouth Pinelands, the town of Plymouth has many distinct geographical features. The town's Atlantic coast is characterized by low plains, while its western sections are extremely hilly and forested. Plymouth contains several small ponds scattered throughout its western quadrant, the largest being the Great Herring Pond. A major feature of the town is the Mills Standish State Forest, which is in the southwestern region. Cachalot Scout Reservation, operated by the Cachalot District of the Narragansett Council of the Boy Scouts of America, lies adjacent to the state forest lands. There is also a smaller town forest, as well as several parks, recreation areas and beaches. Plymouth has 9 public beaches, the largest being Plymouth Beach. Plymouth Beach guards Plymouth Harbor and mostly consists of a 3-mile-long, ecologically significant barrier beach. Clark's Island, a small island in Plymouth Bay, is the only island in Plymouth. It is off the coast of Sackwish Neck and has 9 summer houses but no year-round inhabitants. Climate. Plymouth's climate is a transitional humid continental cold humid subtropical marine type, which is the predominant climate for Massachusetts. Due to its location on the Atlantic Ocean, humidity levels can be very high year-round. Plymouth's coastal location causes it to experience warmer temperatures than many inland locations in New England. Summers are typically hot and humid, while winters are cold, windy and often snowy. Plymouth's warmest month is July, with an average high temperature of 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit and an average low of 61.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The coldest month is January, with an average high temperature of 38.1 degrees Fahrenheit and an average low of 20.1 degrees Fahrenheit. Much like the rest of the northeastern seaboard, Plymouth receives ample amounts of precipitation year-round. On average, summer months receive slightly less precipitation than winter months. Plymouth averages about 47.4 inches of rainfall a year. Plymouth, like other coastal Massachusetts towns, is very vulnerable to nor'easter weather systems. The town is sometimes vulnerable to Atlantic hurricanes and tropical storms, which infrequently threaten the Cape Cod region during the early autumn months. Demographics. As of the census of 2010, there were 56,468 people, 21,269 households, and 14,742 families residing in the town. By population it is the second largest town in Massachusetts, after Framingham. It is also the 21st largest municipality in the state. The population density was 536.0 inhabitants per square mile. There are 21,250 housing units, at an average density of 85.1 per kilometer 2. The racial makeup of the town was 93.8% white, 2.0% Black or African American, 0.3% Native American, 0.9% Asian.